Good afternoon. I was so ready to say good morning. It's not the morning for once. It is the brand new time of Sportuccino, 4 p.m. GMT on Facebook, YouTube, and Sportuccino.com. I'm Richard Parr. So great to be talking to you this afternoon as we digest a really busy weekend of sporting action. Lots to cover. We're going to look ahead to Manchester United versus Chelsea. We're going to look back at the Six Nations. We're going to look back at the Premier League. There's also a bit of MMA action. We've also got high winds in Cape Town for the annual Cape Town Cycle Tour. Lots to cover. Got a great guest coming up for you as well. But let's start this afternoon. I was going to say start the day. It's not the day anymore. Start this afternoon with our sports headlines. Manchester United are without 4 strikers for their FA Cup quarter-final against Chelsea on Monday. Real Madrid replaced Barcelona at the top of the Spanish league. Novak Djokovic beats Carl Edmund to set up a third-round tie against Juan Martín del Potro at Indian Wells. And the Houston Rockets beat the NBA champions, the Cleveland Cavaliers, 117-112. Yes, so much to cover on today's Sportuccino. So let's get to it. Let's straight away have a look at what happened in the FA Cup this weekend. So on Saturday, the early game was Manchester City beating Middlesbrough 2-0, goals for Silva and Aguero. Arsenal got 5 second-half goals against Lincoln. Well done to non-league Lincoln for getting to half-time without conceding a goal. Good stuff there from them. Spurs 6-0 winners against Millwall. A hat-trick for Son. Janssen got his first goal in open play, but the bad news for Spurs is Harry Kane looks like he is going to be out with an injury. He came off after just a few minutes in that game at White Hart Lane. And of course, the game tonight is Chelsea versus Manchester United. Manchester United, though, are struggling for a striker. As we mentioned in the headlines, Zlatan is suspended. Rooney has a leg injury after a collision with his own player, Phil Jones. And Martial and Rashford are both missing out due to illness. Poor them. A few stats here ahead of that game. In their 11 previous ties, Manchester United have won 8 and Chelsea 3. So looking quite good for United, but Chelsea are unbeaten in their last 11 league and cup games against United. They've won 6, drawn 5, and they've only conceded 3 times in their last 9 encounters. So interesting stuff. Of course, Mourinho facing his former club, and Chelsea winning that game 4-0 earlier this season. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. And we're talking about that on today's poll. Get involved. It's on our Twitter page at Sportuccino. Who will reach the semi-finals of the FA Cup? Will it be Manchester United or Chelsea? Get involved on the Twitter page at Sportuccino. Is it Manchester United or Chelsea? Well, we're also busy on our Facebook page. Of course, this is live on Facebook, where we have been discussing what is the greatest combined 11 right now of Manchester United and Chelsea. Let's have a quick look at it. So we've got De Gea in goal, Azpilicueta, Louise Cahill in defence for Sportuccino, and Luke Shaw at left back. In the midfield is Kante and Pogba, a French pair in there. Out on the wings, you've got Mkhitaryan and Hazard, and up front, Costa and Ibrahimovic. What do you make of that team? Do you agree with it? Are there any players you feel who should be in there? Should Courtois be in there? Should someone like Chris Smalling be in there? What do you think about Martial or Juan Mata, for example? Love to get your thoughts on that. Get involved on the Facebook page and on the Twitter page. Now, let me introduce you to my guest today. I'm delighted to say that the UK correspondent for Tuttosport, Federico Farcomeni, is joining me now live on Sportuccino. Good afternoon to you, Federico, even. I'm so used to these early mornings.
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to everybody. Hello.
So we've got this big game tonight between Chelsea and Manchester United. Chelsea have looked really good this season, haven't they, Federico?
Yeah, they are. They are. And obviously, this make me write more about Conte and about Chelsea, about everything. But yeah, they're really doing well, and they're on course for the double. But mind you, they haven't ousted the FA Cup winners, I think, since 1966. So that's quite a long time. Although they have a very good chance to do it tonight, because of the reasons you were saying before. They have a striking problem up front, and obviously they will. I think Man United will prioritize eventually the Europa League qualification against Rostov on Thursday. And to be honest with you, when I saw the fixtures of the FA Cup, I never thought this could be a Monday night game because of the of the slot, because of visibility, because of the Europa League in between. I thought it was going to be probably Sunday, but then there you go. So Mourinho has to do some choices there.
There's so many good teams in the Premier League this season, and it was called the Battle of the Managers at the beginning of the season, with Guardiola coming, with Conte coming, with Mourinho at Manchester United. You still got Wenger, a lot of people like Jurgen Klopp, everything like that. Should we be surprised that Chelsea are top, that they've been doing so well, or do people in Italy who've seen what he did at Juventus, they're not surprised at all?
Yeah, well, it's a bit of mixed feelings, to be honest, because nobody really expected Conte to have a good chance to win the Premier League on his very first season here, because we all thought he might struggle a bit to adapt to English football, to the pace of English football, for all those reasons, or also for everything else, for midweek games, for other stuff. But eventually, the fact that he didn't have exactly that problem, that issue of the European Cups, it was probably a bit easier in this respect. But still, everybody I think is very proud. At the same time, a bit surprised as well, because we really didn't expect him to go and win it at the first season, first attempt.
Yeah, if they do the double, be very impressive. Of course, Carlo Ancelotti won the double in his first season. Chelsea have got a long history with Italians, don't they?
Yeah. I think is a good texture, of people, because I was reading. Obviously, probably you have read it as well. The Glenn Hoddle interview of him doing the transfers with the payphone and stuff like that in 1994. But now how things have changed and developed since then at Chelsea, and all the shifts from Arlington to Cobham and all the stuff. And at the same time, I think West London is an ideal location as well for Italians. It tends to be for Italian citizens in general, I think. Because I've seen many, and at the same time, this probably provide a good platform as well when somebody comes in, also, in terms of manager of footballers, and they feel at home in this part of London. So that's probably one of the reasons, I think.
Yeah, I can imagine any footballer wanting to come to England would much prefer playing in West London than in the freezing north of Newcastle or Sunderland or somewhere like that. Yeah. Now, we're talking about the real high level of the game, but the game you were at is in a lower division over in Italy on Saturday. Tell us a bit about that, Federico.
Yeah, I was in lovely Ferrara, which is close to Bologna, and is well connected as well to London Heathrow, because there is a direct flight, which I didn't think. And Ferrara as well is a World Heritage site, so it's worth a visit, even for a day, maybe for a couple of days, because it's it's a small town eventually. And the local team there is called SPAL, SPAL, and they're an historic club because also England manager Fabio Capello, former England manager Fabio Capello, played for them. And mind you, he will be here as well at Stamford Bridge tonight to commentate on the Chelsea-Manchester United game for the Italian television. And they haven't been back in Serie A since 1968. And on Saturday they went top of Serie B with that win. So Serie B is a very strange league. It's like the Championship in England, of course. So anything can happen at any time against anybody. But in this moment, Spal are on a streak. Because they're, I think, 11 games unbeaten, and with that game they're now top. So they started to dream. But at the same time, they have the feet firmly on the ground, because they know it's going to be difficult from here to the end. But they now believe even more, because they got promoted last season, and they never expect to do the double jump. So the target for this season was, just safety, mid-table safety. But now the top, and obviously they're going to believe to get promoted. And for instance, on Saturday as well at the stadium there were some scouts from Leicester City and West Ham watching Bonifazi, who is a young, interesting talent in defence, playing very well for Spal at the moment. Although obviously, I think it will be too big a leap, from Serie B to Premier League. It will be even if you go play for West Ham or Leicester, still it will be a very big leap. So I hope the guy stays at Spal and maybe he gets promoted with them, and then gets the chance to show his talent at a bigger level. Because otherwise, it will be it will be massive, in terms of change and shift and everything else. But still, it was a very interesting experience, I think.
Well, as a Brighton and Hove Albion fan, and we're on the cusp of reaching the Premier League, I feel for the Spal and hope them all the best in that. You mentioned Capello there.
I was reading a Brighton and Hove Albion book, Build a Bonfire.
Oh,
Bonfire. Yeah, about the all the goldstone and everything. I was reading it exactly this weekend, so it's a good connection there, and the colours are the same as well.
Oh, fantastic! Maybe the two clubs need to do something together if they both get promoted. Maybe a pre-season friendly or something like that.
Yeah,
that could be really fun. Yeah, back in 1997, I remember the Goldstone ground. But you mentioned Capello there. I'm throwing you on the spot now, just quickly, Federico. Has there been much talk about him ever coming back to management? His last job finished in 2015 with Russia.
Yeah, everybody's asked this question. He always says he's not interested, because he's got many chances to come back. Maybe even AC Milan or Roma. They looked for him. Inter Milan as well. They looked for him. Juventus themselves. They wanted to give him probably a different role, but he never seems to be interested. And now, he's very happy to commentate for Fox Sports, and that's what he's all about. He's probably happy with his life at the moment. So he never talks about going back into management. Perhaps he feels, his time is up, or he never finds, how do you say, a challenging, environment or something he likes. So apparently, after last year, talks of him coming back to management have been died down, I would say. So not really now, not really.
It sounds like a bit of a slow retirement. Now let's move on, Federico. It's not been a very good Six Nations campaign for Italy, has it? Another defeat on Sunday. What's the feeling back in Italy right now towards their rugby team?
It's quite depressing. I mean, you can tell from the attendances as well, because the other games as well against France, but against Wales, there were probably 40, 50,000 people, which is a good number. But if you think, even last year and 2 years ago, there were 70, 80,000 people watching the rugby. It tells you something. It tells you part of the story that, people probably feel a bit discouraged about going to the ground and watch the Six Nations, because yes, it's a good experience. Yes, it's a good event. But then, they're probably running a bit out of patience now, although they don't understand that you really need time to keep building up. I think with Conor O'Shea, they can build, but they need 2 more years. Obviously, it's easier said than done, as usual. But yeah, I mean, the response on the media generally is always the same. We give for granted that things are not going to be okay. But I must say, after the Twickenham game, for instance, it was a positive response from the press, from the public in general, because of the tactics. Although there were probably negative tactics for Eddie Jones. But because of that reason, people were starting to say it was like if Mourinho or Conte were, on the bench for Crotone, leading a very low Serie A club. So basically saying the players themselves, there will be nothing but they have a great coach. So they should make the most of it, and that's the general feeling at the moment. So we feel very blessed to have Conor O'Shea on the bench, but at the same time, we need. In my opinion, we need to. This is a problem that the Italian Federation they've been having for years and years, and it doesn't really take 1 month to solve. They should really look at the issue a bit better, perhaps.
Yeah, there's been talk about teams such as Georgia and Romania getting involved in promotion, relegation. How did that go down in Italy?
Not very well, to be honest. And I was at the as well in Teddington at the Italy press conference before the England game, and I was the only one asking the coach a question about England, about the game, because most of the press conference, it probably lasted 30 minutes, 25 minutes were about Georgia, Romania, relegation, and himself and Parise, they were quite angry about the issue, because they said yes, it might be interesting to have a European competition, but at the same time it wouldn't make sense to play a single game against Georgia or against Romania to understand, to realize who might be qualified for the Six Nations, because one game doesn't really change much. The only way you can improve is keep playing against the best, keep trying to perform against top tier teams, and that's the only way you can really improve. So one game wouldn't really change things too much, and probably because I'm Italian, I feel like I agree with them. Because at the same time, I don't want to see Italy relegated or thrown out of the Six Nations. But at the same time, I understand they need to speed up as well in terms of of they need to improve, because otherwise, yes, it's pointless to be there at the very top if you can't really keep improving and face the very best in the world of rugby. So I understand the debate.
And teams can quickly improve. Look at Scotland. No one gave them a chance before this tournament, and they've actually got quite a few decent results. So who knows what can happen next year. Federico, it's been really good to talk to you this afternoon on Sportuccino. Just before you go, let us know how we can perhaps follow some of your work or anything on social media, please.
Yeah, at Fede Farco on Twitter. Normally that's my page, Twitter page, and YouTube page as well if you want some videos. That sometimes they're interesting.
Brilliant. Federico Farcomeni, the UK correspondent for Tuttosport. Thank you so much for being on Sportuccino.
Thank you.
Really great to talk to Federico there. Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the rugby now. Of course, Wales were 22-9 winners over Ireland. George North with 2 tries, a try also there for Roberts. But it was all about England. 61-21 winners over Scotland to win the Six Nations, to retain the title with their 4th win of the series. And of course, as we mentioned, it was France 40, Italy 16. France running in 4 tries. And actually, it was on our Sportuccino Twitter page that we asked you predictions for the Wales-Ireland game. Here's the result of that poll. And it was, what would be the result of Friday's Rugby Six Nations game between Wales and Ireland? And 63% of you said Ireland would win, and 38% of you said Wales would win, and the 38% of you were correct. Well done to you. Wales 22-9 winners over Ireland. So what that means is that England now have 18 wins in a row under Eddie Jones. It is an equal world record with New Zealand. And next weekend, they face Ireland in Dublin with the chance to beat that record by the great All Blacks side, the side which won the last World Cup in 2015. Now, the last time England were close to retaining a Six Nations like this, a Grand Slam, was 2001 under Clive Woodward. They went to a final game and they lost to Ireland in Dublin. Could that happen again? Also, Ireland were the team which ended New Zealand's 18-match run when they beat them in Chicago back in the autumn internationals. Could Ireland be the bogey team for England next weekend? Let us know your thoughts. And on Friday, we spoke to the sports journalist Ryan Siddle. He's a writer for the Sport Bible. And we got his thoughts on if England were to level the number of wins on Saturday against Scotland and in fact beat them next weekend at Ireland, would they be a better team than this great New Zealand team? And we got his thoughts. Have a listen to this.
Previously on Sportuccino. that's not necessarily the sign that they're better than that All Black side. That All Black side won the World Cup in their run. England will have just won 2 Six Nations, but it's still a fantastic record. It's still something to be proud of.
So, according to Ryan, the best team would still be New Zealand. Love to get your thoughts on that. Would England be a better team than New Zealand? In fact, would this England team beat the England team which won in 2003? Lots to consider there in the world of rugby. Love to get your thoughts on that. Now, this weekend there was a huge event in ONE FC in Thailand, and an old friend of the show, Angela Lee, the Atomweight Women's World Champion of ONE FC, she defended her title for the very first time against Jenny Huang. Why don't we have a look at how Angela got on?
We had the fight everybody had so much anticipation for tonight in Thailand, and that was the epic title clash between champion Angela Lee and challenger Jenny Huang for the Atomweight World title.
And still world champion, unstoppable Angela Lee put it on the challenger, showcasing a whole new dimension to her skill set, really showcasing a beautiful display of stand-up skills to retain her belt in Thailand.
She really is a tough woman. You do not want to mess with Angela Lee. Congratulations to her for winning that bout against Jenny Huang on Saturday in Thailand, a good friend of the show. Now, Angela, when she was on the show, was talking a lot about what makes her the very best at what she does. And I do similar on my other podcast, The Best in the World with Richard Barr. You can go to acast.com/best or find us on iTunes. And we speak to different world and Olympic champions to find out what they do to be the best. And a lot of it is about goal setting. And it's something we try to do on our Snapchat page every single day on Sportuccino. And you'll see that on today's Snapchat page, I'm pretty happy that I don't have to get up at ridiculous o'clock again. Have a look at this. It is a beautiful Monday morning here in Hove, England. And with the brand new time for Sportuccino, it means I can get up at normal time in the morning and actually head to the gym. Been a little bit slack in the last 2 weeks, so glad to be back. So my goal of the day is to complete a cardio blast workout. It's mainly bodyweight exercises, which includes sprinting and press-ups and pull-ups and everything like that. All right, I've set my goal of the day. It's time for you to set yours. Okay, let's return to football now and find out what happened in the Premier League this weekend. Just 4 matches because the FA Cup quarter-finals. A hat-trick for King in the Bournemouth 3-2 victory over West Ham on Saturday. 2 other games on Saturday. Everton 3-0 winners over West Brom. Lukaku on the score sheet. I brought him into my dream team, but I didn't make him captain. What a disaster there. Morales with their early goal. Hull 3-0 winners against Swansea. Great result that. I'm not sure that's the right result though. And it's Liverpool against Burnley, 2-1 winners there on Sunday. Of course, Emre Can and Giorgio Wijnaldum with the goals. Of course, Hull wasn't 3-0. Hull was 2-1. I knew that was incorrect. Error there on the graphic. Apologies to Swansea. Your team lost 2-1, not 3-0. Interesting stuff there going on in that relegation battle in the Premier League. Now, we're going to leave you just before we finish the show with some amazing pictures from Cape Town. Now, on Sunday morning in Cape Town, they were supposed to have the 40th annual Cape Town Cycle Tour, but they had to cancel it. It was because of 100km/h high winds. Unbelievable stuff. People couldn't even hold their bikes, and the organisers had to cancel the 109km race after just 21 kilometres. It's an event where 35,000 people enter, and race directors said a nearby fire and street protest also contributed to the decision. Absolutely amazing pictures there from Cape Town, and really sad for people who've travelled the world to enter that event that they couldn't complete it. Incredible pictures. Hopefully they won't have as many problems when it's held next year. All right, we have come towards the end of another Sportuccino. Just before we go, let's get a quick reminder of today's sports headlines. Manchester United are without 4 strikers for their FA Cup quarter-final against Chelsea on Monday. Real Madrid replaced Barcelona at the top of the Spanish league. Novak Djokovic beats Kyle Edmund to set up a third-round tie against Juan Martín del Potro at Indian Wells. And the Houston Rockets beat the NBA champions, the Cleveland Cavaliers, 117-112. John Knox is saying hello on the Facebook page. Hello to you too. What's your prediction for Manchester United versus Chelsea? I'd like to hear from you on that. All right, that has been the first Sportuccino in the afternoon, 4 p.m. GMT. If you've watched the show, please like it and comment on it and tell your friends, share it as well. If you've missed the episode or you want to go back and see any of our other episodes, they're all on YouTube. They're also available as a podcast on iTunes. Go and have a listen to that. Sportuccino, just search it, easy to find. Same with the best in the world with Richard Parr. Please like the Facebook page, subscribe to us on YouTube and on iTunes as well. All right, on Tuesday's show, we will react to the Manchester United versus Chelsea game in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. But until then, I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I will see you tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. GMT.